Welcome in, everyone. I am the Crypto Bull God, and this is All in the Charts. If you appreciate the content, make sure to hit the thumbs up button. Drop me a comment. Hit the thumbs up button. Yes, I said hit the thumbs up button. And make sure that you click the bell icon for all notifications to know when I go live in this salty cryptocurrency market. Guys, I hope everyone has had a nice weekend. I encouraged everyone last week to stay level-headed, not expecting a lot of monumental price action over the course of the next 4 to 5 weeks. Not to say we can't see upside. That's not what I'm saying, but I don't anticipate anything monumentally exciting until we start to get into the fourth quarter. So we're sort of in this time period where a lot of people who are emotional, I'm beginning to see that come out on Twitter. I had someone, or on X, whatever, I had someone, I muted them, but let's not go into that. But it's interesting to see how quickly the market kind of goes in waves and is salty and is exciting. And so I would encourage everyone to stay level-headed and remain to how do I want to articulate this? Sorry, my to be honest with you, my brain is a little fried. I just literally stopped working. Logic always prevails over emotion, okay? Especially when it comes to financial investing. And I was thinking about how I wanted to do today's live stream. Typically on a Monday, what we like to do is we like to cover how the week closed out and yada, yada, yada. I don't really want to focus on that today. We're going to do something a little bit different. So we'll take a look at current price action. We'll spend about 5 seconds on that. As you can see, it's doing exactly what I said we'd like to see. We're simply consolidating between 56.5 and 61.8. Literally nothing has changed. So we're just waiting for that next bump up to move to break past 61.8 and move up to this orange rectangular area between 63.8 and 68,000. But I thought what might be more value added for our discussion today is to take a look back in time and ask the question, have we seen what's going on today play out similarly in times past? Now, as you're aware, if you've been following me for a while, I have for a long time said that I do not believe in this whole everything follows the halving cycle, and because of the Bitcoin halving, this is what happens. However, with that being said, whether it's coincidental or not coincidental, one of the things that I have spent a great deal of time studying is the bigger business cycle, and baked into that is the liquidity and the interest rate cycle. Now, again, don't know if it's coincidental or not, but these liquidity cycles, the Bitcoin halvings, and the presidential cycles all line up in roughly 4-year cycles. And so we can take a historical look back under the premise of a liquidity cycle and say, okay, if we truly believe that basically the same thing is going to play out going into next year. Interest rates are going to plummet to 2 to 2.5%. There's going to be some crisis that's going to result in sharp interest rate declines, and there's going to be an injection of capital because you have a lot of companies, okay, private equity, that is on a current debt cycle, okay, that's set to mature, and they need to roll that stuff over to lower interest rates because they can't cover it, right? So there's going to be some, and I know I'm getting into a little bit of a fundamental conversation, but without getting into this whole liquidity cycle thing, what I want to do is I want to take a step back and I want to ask the question that if we were to see something similar play out as in times past, is what we're seeing right now sort of like par for the course? Or are we seeing something different right now and something that we need to be very mindful of? Now, one of the things that did play out differently this year that I forewarned everyone about was that we actually saw Bitcoin break into a new all-time high before the halving. And this is where I caution everyone kind of on two fronts. One, we have a limited sample set upon which we're drawing conclusions on to make these informed decisions moving forward. Limited sample set, not a lot of price data. Secondly, if the majority of everyone is expecting something, remember, I was one of the very few people who said I was leaning in this direction versus just stagnating going into the halving. And why was that? Because everyone was expecting stagnating prices, right? Bitcoin did the unexpected. And the best way that I can articulate my current view of the market is that Bitcoin essentially has front run the majority of the market mindset. We're still in a similar spot, and I'll prove that, but Bitcoin has essentially front run what it has typically done in the past, right? So we got a little overheated. We're having this correction right now in consolidation, but there's nothing alarming going on. The other thing I would point your attention to that I've tried to draw out to you a few times before we start to get into a historical perspective on years past, and if we're truly at a similar spot or we're doing something quite different. I'm trying to get up a chart here that isn't too muddied. I draw so much on these damn charts. Okay, good. The other thing to keep in mind, and what should leave you feeling very bullish, is that as you can see, just a very high level, this is a very basic TA observation, okay? It has nothing to do with Bitcoin, and it has everything to do with just basic TA, okay? You can see, it's actually really well depicted on this chart here, although it's a little muddied up with this. I forget what I was trying to draw here. Guys, a little bit of engagement on the thumbs up, please. It does help me as a content creator. I hate asking for people to engage with me, but if I don't get interaction on YouTube, if people aren't dropping me comments, if people aren't liking the stream, it's just not going to get recommended to a lot of people, so I would appreciate it. But one of the most bullish things that I could point out to you, just a high-level observation, forget the fact that it's a 2-week chart, although it's a lot more bullish because we're talking about a high time frame chart. It's just a chart. And before on this chart, look what we couldn't do. We couldn't sustain prices up at this $60,000 area. We got rejected right around $60,000. Look what we've done now. We've literally been hovering mostly above $60,000. We've been hanging out here since March, okay, really since February. So from February of this year, stated differently, from February of this year all the way up into August, so that would be 6 months of price data, perhaps 7, depending when in February. For about 6 to 7 months, we have been consolidating in a price region that we could not maintain for a single month back here in 2021, okay? So that's one of the most bullish things that I could depict from you from this chart. It shouldn't matter to you. If you're an investor in this space, it shouldn't matter to you that we're undergoing a lot of sideways price action right now. What you need to ask yourself is, are we in an uptrend or a downtrend? Is there more to be bullish about, high time frame, or bearish to be about, high time frame? I would argue, it's not even an argument, we're creating higher highs and higher lows. We're consolidating at a price region that we could not sustain a couple years ago. And the reason that people are getting salty is because they want to get rich overnight. And if you're in this market and you're anticipating getting rich overnight and you're anticipating making a lot of money, you're going to lose the shirt off your back. I guarantee you that. I don't promise anything on this channel, but that is one thing I will promise you. Is that you will lose substantially if you think you can get, you can generate an extreme amount of wealth in an extremely short period of time. Okay, don't allow crypto Twitter and crypto YouTube to skew your vision in a direction that's unrealistic. Okay, true success in this market comes from diligence and being a nerd like myself and studying the charts a lot. Whatever financial wealth I create for myself, I own it. I've accomplished it. And it also comes from patience. And again, I come out here and I reiterate a lot of the same messaging over and over and over again for a reason. I want it to be implanted in your head. Unless if something is materially changing, which invalidates your view, whether you're bullish or bearish, you should still have that bullish or bearish view. Okay? Because if you're changing and you're flip-flopping and nothing has changed objectively in the data to change your view on things, what are you doing? You're being subjective and you are bending to the whims of your emotions. Okay? So just keep that in mind. Now, let's, again, one of the whole premises that I began off with today that has really resonated with me, made a lot of sense, is this whole business cycle that we're under, which coincides with the halving, which coincides with the presidential election. I've said to you guys before, and you can look at history to tell you this. Do you really think, and this is not a political statement, do you really think going into an election, the person who is in power, that person and that party will allow the economy to the stock market, pardon me, they're two different things, would allow the stock market to crumble going into the election? Absolutely not. Okay? So, again, you can use history to tell you these things, but historically when we get into this time of the year, it's just of a cyclical nature. So, let me provide facts for what I am stating right now. So what I'm going to do, by the way, I want to tell you that I'm quite upset that cubic spline interpolation is not available in Microsoft Excel. What the fuck is up with that? It's 2024, and you're telling me you can't do a cubic spline interpolation? Give me a break. For any of you math nerds out there. Bitcoin halving date. So first what we're going to do, again, this live stream is going to be a little bit different from what we typically do on a Monday, at the very least. So this is a weekly chart. We're looking at a weekly chart of Bitcoin. And I'm going to draw in the weekly candlestick with a vertical line that corresponds with the halving dates. For the first one we want to look at is April of 2024. So back here, April 19th, that would be this candlestick right there. And we'll use orange for the orange coin, okay? The next halving date was May 11th of 2020. Right here. The next halving date before that, and I think we'll probably stop there because once you start getting back to 2012, it's a little, so we'll use these two sample points. July 9th of 2016. So July 9th, 2016, that would be right here. Oh. Right here. Okay, so these are your halving dates that are indicated by these orange vertical lines here, okay? And the other thing I'd like to ask the question of is I'd like to take a look at the time period between, we can look at July, but in particular, I just want to look at August and September, actually. So let's look at price action in between August and September. And let's see if we can draw any parallels to what's going on today. And again, I'm doing this live on the spot, so hopefully this works out like I'm anticipating it to. Did not have any time to prep jack shit before this live stream. So this is... Okay, so this technically goes into October, but you get the point. This was the price action back in 2016 between August and September. Okay. Right, like that. And if we fast forward and we go 4 years later, you can see the halving was actually in May. It looks like the price action between August and September was this exciting price action right here. Okay? Look at that. Look at this monumentally exciting price action right here. Okay? And now let's go to current day. And this is our current price action. Okay? And I believe we'll stay within this box here. Okay? So in times past, the first thing that we can say undoubtedly, okay, and again, the premise is 4 years, roughly every 4 years, the same shit happens in the business cycle, which coincides with Bitcoin's halving and the election cycle. You can see that in this 2-month period, what did price action do? It went sideways. It didn't do anything bearish. It just didn't do anything exciting, guys. Okay? What happened in the fourth quarter going into the preceding year in 2016? Well, we increased, Bitcoin increased from $600 all the way up to $1,000. So went up more than 50%. Okay, so the fourth quarter was beautiful. And then for the remainder of 2017, that's when we had that blow off top going into 18. Okay, let's see what happened in 2020. So 2020, I remember this extremely well. Again, we're in August and September. What is price action doing? It's not bearish. I remember being here for this weekly candlestick, and when we saw this thing bearishly engulf here, I was like, oh, okay, all right, not really what you want to see. Price stabilized. Okay, it was boring as fuck, guys. Okay, boring. But what happened in the fourth quarter? Look at October, November to December, okay? I remember this very well. We increased from $10,000 up to $38,000. We pulled more than we pulled like a 4x, okay, in the fourth quarter. Again, if the liquidity cycle hypothesis is correct and we're moving in these roughly 4-year increments, we should expect something similar to play out this time around. Again, it doesn't mean, guys, it doesn't mean that between this month and next month we can't move up. That's not what I'm telling you. I'm not telling you otherwise. We could move up into here. I'm just saying I do not anticipate in August, I do not anticipate in September that we're going to see new all-time highs. We're going to need to wait all the way until the fourth quarter, which is literally right around the corner. And again, we have a limited sample set of data upon which to draw these conclusions from, but the level of conviction that I have in the liquidity cycle thesis until proven otherwise is pretty high based on the amount of time I've spent with it. So again, hypothesis is that if this time is similar to this time, not the same, but similar, and similar to this time, okay, after the halving dates, you should expect some sort of run up for many months, okay? That's why I said the first half of 2015 or 2025 should be very bullish. Now, could this bleed over into the second half of 2025? Absolutely. But at least at the very least, I'm anticipating that the fourth quarter of this year will play out similarly to the prior 2 iterations, and the first half of next year will play out similarly to the prior 2 iterations. And this is why I'm saying it's a cyclical pattern. There's seasonality going on. September does not typically provide a lot of excitement within the market. There's a couple reasons I touched on that from last week. But again, this is one really helpful view, in my opinion, that should really paint an accurate picture in terms of what we've seen when we've been at a similar point. Now, just to further illustrate, you guys might be telling me, well, that's all fine, CBG, but I'm fucking 90% in alts, and my alts have just been bleeding. Now, another question I would ask you, have we sort of seen this story before with altcoins? Let me think of a good altcoin to provide. Let me go to Uniswap. I wonder if Uniswap would be a good... I want to show you, and again, it highlights everything that, a lot of things I've spoken to. All right. Let's get this raging bull off. Go to, is there enough price data here? Nah, there isn't. thought Uniswap would be a good mid-cap to show. Well, we'll show Doge. Maybe Doge shows something similar here to what I want to show. So if we go to... Fuck off. All right. Trading view, you little turd. Let's go to Doge. We're all on the weekly. Okay. So this is great. So Doge is a great example. Now, Doge was one of the best performers in 2021. For those of you who were here, you remember all the hype with Elon Musk and going on Saturday Night Live and all those fun things, right? But the question is, now again, coming back to what we just went over, I was looking at this chart and I said, let's just look at 2020, right? Remember, August and September were very non-eventful for Bitcoin. And then the fourth quarter, we really took off. We went from $10,000 up to nearly $40,000, right? And then, of course, we had this was really the impulsive top. This was part of a corrective structure, double top, whatever you want to call it. But the remainder of 2021 was still bullish, right? Well, let's go to Doge and see what was Doge doing at those distinct points in time. Well, let's take a look at August and September. So first off, and we can look at several altcoins and draw the same conclusion. Look at this price action. And again, it's amazing how quickly people forget things. Either people are not educated, okay, or people just forget. They don't do their homework, okay? Maybe they weren't here. I'm just giving you factual information in the charts. Look what August and September did. Pretty fucking non-eventful, right? Now, as Bitcoin starts to take off in the fourth quarter, what did Doge do? Right here. It started to, you can see the higher highs and higher lows were coming in. We started the rebound. It wasn't anything significant. It wasn't until this area. Notice the lag in momentum for Doge. It wasn't until the end of the fourth quarter that Doge really started to pick up, and then we fucking nuked to the upside, okay? You missed your opportunity, okay? That price action that looked so chippy-choppy here is just a speck in the dust, okay? Look at this. Speck in the dust. So the other thing that I want to articulate here is what I would anticipate, and this is something I have hit on before, but I want to illustrate for you. As Bitcoin regains its momentum in the fourth quarter and potentially creates a new all-time high as early as October, as late as perhaps November, you're going to see some altcoins sort of lag in that move until Bitcoin really starts to get to the top of this initial move up, whether it's 85 or 92 like I've spoken about, right? Then you're going to see your altcoins really start to pick up and see some large moves, roughly, I would anticipate around similar timing in the back half of the fourth quarter going into the beginning of the new year. Again, all we can do to take this viewpoint, to develop this viewpoint, which is an informed viewpoint, we're literally just using past data. The question I would have for you is, if you have an alternative scenario, how would you formulate an alternative scenario of what's going to play out in the markets without evaluating price data, right? If you're using anything outside of price data to make an informed decision of what's going to occur tomorrow based on what occurred in the past, then you're just doing it based on your hope and your emotional view. And your view of maybe you're a political person. You're like, well, if Trump gets in power. Guys, I got news for you. While I think there's one clear candidate between both of them that is much more qualified to be the leader of the free world nation, whether Trump gets elected or whether Harris gets elected, I almost said Biden, whether Harris gets elected, it's not the chart is the chart. It's not going to impact the chart. That is my view. The data is the data. Okay? If Trump is sworn in January, or Harris, God forbid, is sworn did I say that? Is sworn in January, it's not going to change the chart. The chart is the chart. Something would fundamentally have to change and break down. And again, all we can use is past data to make this sort of informed decision. Let me see if there's another, again, just to articulate. Let's look at Cardano. Cardano was one of those big runners. You know, the interaction that I was mentioning earlier today had to do with a salty individual who owns Caspa, and I felt like was acting like Peter Schiff and was cherry picking dates to say that Caspa hadn't moved. I mean, you have to be a complete moron not to see that Caspa has been gaining dominance. It's been moving up the crypto cap ranking, and it has outperformed Total 3. It's outperformed mostly everything. So you could cherry pick any date to come up with a story that you want, but in totality, Caspa is an extremely bullish chart. So let's take a look at ADA. So ADA is a great example. Again, it's going to paint a similar story for us, I believe, but we'll see if I'm correct. Okay, let's take a look at 2020 August. Remember, that was around that halving date. We're going to take a look at August and September. Did we see similar price action? Not the same, but similar as Doge. Is this a 2-week? Yes, this is a 2-week. Sorry, I want to get this on a weekly. It's a lot easier. Okay. So here is the price action beginning in August and ending in September, right here. Look at that price action, okay? Down in total and pretty lackluster, right? If you owned, this is the 88 dominance. Why do I have 88 dominance? Shit, hold on. I was doing some Caspa work. Apologies, everyone. Apologies. Let's get on a weekly Cardano for all you Jim Cramer fans. Oh, is my stream... I see my stream's freezing up. Can everybody see me? I hope everybody can see me. Okay, let's continue onward here. So, what I'd first like to do... Man, this chart needs to get cleared up. Ignore all the... it looks like a fucking Christmas tree. All the green and red going on here. Dear God. Okay. What I'd like to first do is I'd like to take a look at the price action that existed between August and September. Okay? That was this price action right here. Okay? Right here. So as you can see, we were down, and it was pretty fucking non-eventful. I mean, we ranged between 15 cents, and we went as low as 7.5 cents. Guys, we saw a 50% correction. A lot of your altcoins, okay? This is another good point. A lot of your altcoins when Bitcoin, and I did share this with you, that although I found it less likely, if Bitcoin suffered some sort of it wasn't finished correcting, we went down to that $48,000 area, 48 to 52, your alts would bleed worse. Most of them did. Not all of them, but most of them did, okay? Here you can see during the same seasonality sort of time frame, and within that same cyclical time frame from 4 years ago, Cardano saw a 50% move down from 15 cents to 7.5. Imagine holding Caspa, and Caspa correcting from 15 cents all the way down to 7.5, and then it eventually leveling out at 10 cents. Well, what happened in the fourth quarter of 2020? You can see that for the first several weeks, okay, for these weeks here, while Bitcoin was taking off, guys, we just looked at the chart. Bitcoin's taking off. What was Cardano doing? Nothing. 2, 4, 6 weeks, it did jack shit. And then all of a sudden, in the back half of the fourth quarter, it started to take off. And before you knew it, to start the year, ADA had hit a high of 40 cents. And then it was off to the races in the beginning of 2021. I mean, we went all the way up here to like $1.60. And then we continued going higher to $2.50. So, again, if history is to look similar to the past, and we have no reason to believe otherwise. We have no reason to believe otherwise. If history looks similar, this similar type of price pattern that is being displayed on altcoins and Bitcoin will pan out. You should see Bitcoin running pretty hard in the fourth quarter. You're going to see altcoins lag that move for a little bit. And then once Bitcoin gets, I've tagged 85 to 92, I keep saying. Once Bitcoin gets up to that 85 to 92, I think that's where you're going to see a lot of altcoins start to rip, rip face, and it's going to be a very bullish, at the very least, first quarter of next year. So let me get into the comments here, and let me actually get into my phone for a moment. Oh, perfect. Okay. Perfecto. Oh, by the way, for anyone who isn't following me on X, what the hell are you doing anyway? It's Crypto Bull God. It's one word here. And I'm going to be pretty active this week. So it's going to be a very busy week for me. So between work, there's a lot going on. Good stuff. I'm enjoying what I'm doing. Good stuff. Busy at work, but also, and I did retweet one of the spaces out today, I will be participating in a couple X spaces. So be on the lookout for that if you're interested in hearing my thoughts as well as other technicians' thoughts on the market. I will be participating in a spaces on Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern, and then also Thursday at roughly 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time as well. So be on the lookout for that. Let me get into the... Yeah, it's going to be a busy day, or a busy week. It was a busy day today. Anybody familiar with cubic spline interpolation? Pretty pissed off. They don't have that in Excel. Juan, welcome in. Thank you, Juan. Juan, I appreciate doing 2 thumbs up because the engagement, it was lacking in the beginning. So, Ugos, always good to see you, man. Welcome in. And Rory, it's nice to see you. I haven't seen you drop a comment in quite some time, so it's really good to see you. You get to know, I mean, obviously, especially with a very, small channel like this, you get to know the people who tune in. So I do appreciate you guys showing up from time to time and doing exactly what Todd just did. Todd, you motherfucker. Super chats are never expected, but always appreciated, man. I don't know who the hell you are, but maybe one day I'm going to buy you a drink. Appreciate the support. Steve. Thank you, CBG News for Caspa tonight per Dev Michael Sutton, possibly the beginning. Oh, wow. We shall see. I didn't see that, guys. I wasn't as active on X today. I'll check it out, Steve. I appreciate you mentioning it. So when I actually get done with this live stream, there's some stuff I want to look into at work. So I'm probably just going to be working. I don't know how much charting I'm going to be doing. I made some... If you guys aren't following me on Instagram, I made some peanut butter ripple protein ice cream. Very simple. If you guys should look into the Ninja Cremi. It's a game changer. So I already had my last meal of the day, but the protein ice cream is going to be the last food I eat. But it's three ingredients. It's Fairlife fat-free milk, a vanilla protein powder, and a peanut butter protein powder. Well, really 4. And water. Throw a little xanthan gum in there. And that shit, you freeze it overnight, and then you churn it up in the creme. It is really good. Really, really good. So that's what I'm looking forward to having. I'm just going to do some work here and figure out how I can get around a cubic spline interpolation within Excel since they don't have a function for it. No, Juan, I didn't get the joke, and I really don't even want to know. I am an innocent soul. In many ways, I'm very innocent. I have a innocent way to myself, I guess. I was a boy in a bubble. Guys, I think that's going to do it. I just wanted to... I really just wanted to provide you perspective. Quite oftentimes when I come out here... I have a choice. I have a choice as a educator and content creator. I am not an influencer. I hate the word. As a content creator and educator, I have a choice. I can either come out here and I can put some clever thumbnails together, spend energy doing that, something that'll really grab your attention to get you emotional about things. Or I could just fucking come out here and be logical about things and just kind of help you to keep perspective on things. And obviously, I choose the latter. So I hope you appreciate it. It's always nice to see you guys tune in. I will most certainly be here tomorrow. I will be here Wednesday and Thursday. I have no reasons to be missing those live streams. So stay on the lookout for the X Spaces. Also thinking about Real quick before we sign off, also thinking about trying to squeeze in. I don't know what day I'm going to squeeze it in. I was also thinking about just doing a CBG podcast AMA, where for those who would like to attend, we could have a conversation about anything and everything. We can talk crypto, investing. We can talk about health and wellness, which I'm real passionate about. If you want to talk a little politics, I'm certainly more open to it now than I have been at any time in years past. Really anything at all. So, all right, guys, take care of yourselves. Until next time, let's all spread awareness and let's carry that education forward. Take care.